This week on Case Studies with the Biz Doc, it's Fivetran, the data transfer company that you probably haven't heard of, but they're worth $5 billion. We have the story from inception to all the venture stage and the money they raised to where they are today, competing with the big boys. Fivetran. It's a data transfer company that's very important because data transfer, moving it from here to here and consolidating data is something that is very important today, so then you can do advanced analytics. Your company may have Salesforce, may have NetSuite, may have all sorts of other things, and all that data, if you could bring a mirror of that data over to a warehouse, put an analytics, a query engine, a reporting engine on top of it, and then do analysis, it could explore all kinds of things in your business by harmonizing those different databases. Well, guess what? That's exactly what Fivetran does, and that was the vision that the founders had. Fivetran was founded in 2012 and 2013 by these guys. George Fraser, who had become the CEO, who went to Carnegie Mellon, got a degree in cognitive science, and then he went to Pitt and got a PhD in neurobiology, so we know this guy's smart. And Taylor Brown, his equally smart co-founder, who would become COO, who got an MBA from California College of the Arts and did a bunch of advanced study at Amherst. Well, George and Taylor would get into Y Combinator. There you go again, Y Combinator, the accelerator in Silicon Valley that's birthed some of America's most impressive companies, especially in new technology. Well, they graduate Y Combinator with a big thumbs up, and I did some research, and somewhere in there they say they raised $4 million, or it was 743, followed by 3.4. Regardless, there was this sort of incubation period here from when they graduated, because I think they were in, Michael, were they in winter 13? I think it was winter 13. They were Y Combinator?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that was right. So winter 13, they come out with this idea to build ELT. Now, what's ELT? You probably think I mispronounced extract, transform, load, where you extract data, transform it so it's ready where it's going to go, and then load it up, now that it's transformed, to another database. In a primitive way, and this is very primitive, let's say you pull stuff into Excel, and it's in a CSV file, and then you line it up to make it ready to be put right next to this data so that when you add it together, it's lined up. That's in a very primitive way what an extract, transform, load is. Now take a look at that with large, complicated databases such as, NetSuite, with all your ERP and everything for your company, and Salesforce with your entire customer list. That was the idea, that was the concept, and one way or another, they had $4 million raised between graduating in winter of 13 and in November of 17. So let's step back a minute and look at this a little bit more. You know, you can have far more data sources than just this, and they built automated pipelines that did things a little differently, and their magic box is extract, load, transform. So ELT is their secret sauce. It's the way they do it when they're moving all this data off to another database. Now, what other database? Well, guess what? It could be Snowflake, could be Databricks, could be Azure, where you have now built a monstrous database. You put a BI or a query engine on top of it, and you start kicking out reports. So what they're doing here is not only highly necessary, it has to be secure. And it is. It has to be, the connectors, as they call them, have to work with a whole bunch of sources and go to a whole bunch of destinations. That's what they build. And they say that today they have about 30,000 of these connectors, and I'll get to those statistics in a minute. So now we can see what they built, we can see how important it is, we can see how useful it is, and where are we? We've raised about $4 million in November of 17. Then they moved to December of 19, and they raised the first Series A, and it's hard to call it a Series A when you've already raised $4 million and you've graduated Y Combinator and been in business for 4 years. But nonetheless, here we go, actually closer to 5 years, 6 years. They raised $15 million from Matrix in December of 2018. Then, September of 2019, they raised a Series B, $44 million from Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz would then stay with them for the next rounds. Take a look at this. They go into June of 2020. They raise $100 million with Andreessen Horowitz with support from General Catalyst. Now let's take a look in here. This is pretty amazing. You take a look at what they've raised here, and there's other companies that maybe have raised $300, $400 million. They haven't raised that yet. But thanks to this round, the valuation was $1.2 billion, so they are officially a unicorn halfway through 2020. So 7 years after they start, They are a unicorn status, hats off to them. In early 2021, they bought Teleport. Teleport assists with database replication. It allows things to be done more like snapshots. I won't go into the technical details, but when you talk about database replication, like taking these, replicating them here so that you can do all your analysis work and do assessments, while at the same time you're using NetSuite as your ERP, Salesforce as your CRM, and you can see how that works. So Teleport provides an assisting function with technology that aids in the validated replication of databases. So then it gets better. Look at what they do. A Series D in September of this year, $565 million at a $5.6 billion valuation. There's only one word for that, and that is damn! They just took their valuation up 5x in less than 1 year. And with this, for stock and some of this stack of money that came from Andreessen Horowitz, they buy competitor HVR. So now you've taken a competitor and yourself in this market. They are really the player here now, thanks to this acquisition and the traction that they've had to date. So let's take a look at where they are. Q1 of this year, before this big transaction happened, they announced they had about 1,000 customers, 30,000 different connectors that are here, and 1.5 trillion rows of data being transferred per month. That is one big spreadsheet. And when they published their key performance indicators for uptime and things like that, they were 99% plus in a number of key areas involving uptime, security, availability. It's really a phenomenal company. So they have built a very strong platform. Now, can they integrate? This is a big integration. They're going to have to integrate with a competitor and be able to serve customers the same way, onboard customers the same way. It's one thing to buy a company. It's quite another to integrate all of it. Go check my Grubhub case study out. Well, it's not this level of technology. Failure to integrate can result in a bunch of boat anchors called stuff you bought that you didn't integrate properly, and now you have all this trouble to operate it. Integration is a big deal here, and if they pull it off, they're going to gain a lot of momentum, which is what the playbook says that they're trying to do. Let's go take a look at some lessons that do apply to you and me. Focus on a simple problem. Now, this is a simple problem with a very technically complex answer, but it is a simple problem. Since the emergence of the first database and then the second database, people in the BI office or in the CFO's office or in the business services office have been trying to pull data together for the company to get an overall look at our company and look at different types of data. Since the first database was born, since the first two spreadsheets in finance and in marketing came together, we've been trying to put stuff together and get logical, reasonable comprehensions and answers out of it that we could do something with. More than just make board reports, actually make decisions. So there's a simple problem here that's being solved, and they're solving it not with extract, transform, load, but with their secret sauce, extract, load, transform, as they make these connectors and then deliver copies of your data, even as you're using these solutions, over to databases like this, that you've got a BI or a query engine or a report writer up on top to now pull disparate information together and to make reasoning and information and reports that you and your management team can make decisions on. So solve a simple problem, even if it's complex, can result in incredibly high value. It may take you a while to get there, and in this case, it's about 8 years, but that's a pretty crazy valuation and worth 8 years of effort. Second, patience. They were very patient along the way, and what you read here about George Fraser and Taylor Brown is that they were very patient with the market even as they were urgent about building their solutions. Next, be unafraid of giants. These guys are competing with AWS Glue and Microsoft SQL Server Integration Services. So think about that, SQL Server Integration Services. Microsoft running a whole division that is just there to do integration of server and services, SQL. What they're doing is they're putting databases together, and they're offering your help to do it for a big price that you pay Microsoft. There are huge big boys competing. They are unafraid of the giants. We're out here doing it, and if you take a look at the customers they've already reached, you will be impressed. Companies like these: Square, Root, GoodRx, Collective Health, A Place for Mom, Forever 21, pop sockets, Okta. The list is long and distinguished of customers that are trusting Fivetran to transfer their data into databases so they can make better decisions about running their business. And it's Fivetran that enables that data to come across so that they can do so. Well, that's what I think of Fivetran. Obviously, I like them. I want to know what you think too. Leave a message down below, and while you're there, please subscribe to Valuetainment Economics, and hit the bell so you get notifications when we've got more great content for people like you, entrepreneurs, startup CEOs, and more. If you like this Biz Doc episode, maybe you'll like this one from the Biz Doc Classic Archive. Until next time, I'm Tom Ellsworth with the Biz Doc, and I hope I left you better than I found you.